Yes, my dear friend, in this lesson we will learn about how we can add a background image to our interface window. In fact, this process goes through similar steps as adding the icon images in our previous lesson. Of course, it is a little different. If you want to add a background image to interface window, the size of the window must be the same as the size of the image that we will add. Now let's look at the image we will add. So here is our background.jpg file, and also the size of the image we will add is 300 by 300 pixels. So how we can check this? If you want to do this operation, let's move to our image and let's click right. And let's move to properties, and here is our details. So now let's click this, and you see in the image section you can find width and height of the image. So we are done. By the way, we also need to set our window size to 300 by 300. Of course, if you want to use this image, we need to add it to the project folder. So now let's keep this and let's drop to our project folder, and you see we have successfully added our background.jpg file. So we are done. Now that we have added our image, so now let's examine and interpret our code. When we examine our code, we first imported our module. So here is our Pygame module, and also we started our Pygame module. Then we observe that we add our image to our codes, and you see here the name of our background image variable is interface background, and we called load function in image, and you see we defined our background image file name and its extension, and you see the extension of the image we added is JPG. So we do not have a rule that we can only add PNG images. When we continue, we observe that we do not use the getRect method. So why? Since the background image directly covers the window, we don't need coordinate information. That's why we didn't call the getRect method either. As you can see, we have created our window and its size is 300 by 300. So you see here, this is the most important detail here. The background image to be added and the window size must be the same. As we continued, we created our loop and reached the event list to close our window. So you see here, first we created our loop and then we reached the event list to close our window. Of course, we also closed our window with our conditions. So you see, when we examined the build method, we defined our interface background variable as the first parameter. So here is our first parameter of build method, and also the second parameter is defined as 0,0 in tuple. So why? Actually, when we want to add a background image, we adjust the position as 0,0 since it directly covers the window. This point, so which is 0,0, represent the coordinate of the top left point of the image. And also, we have updated our window because we operate through the window, so you see here. And finally, we close the Pygame module. So we are done. If we run our code like this, and you see here we have successfully added our background image to background of interface window. So we are done. Alright my dear friends, in this lesson we learned how to add background images to the interface window background. So now let's move on to our other lessons and learn the basics of creation interface better.